Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are continuing our coverage of prop betting for Super Bowl 48. We're talking right now with Troy West from allplayswin.com, who's given us a ton of great advice this year. And, of course, what really matters most, winning picks. He's 32-24 against the spread in his NFL preview videos with us this year. That's a great record. Big sample size. Troy, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, I appreciate it, Pete. This is a great time of year, the Super Bowl. What a way to wrap up with prop bets. Come check out allplayswin.com, Pete. 24/7 customer service. We finished the NFL playoffs at our site, 7-1. Love doing prop bets. I truly feel there's some value here. So encourage viewers to take a look at the ones we're on the videos and what we're going to be offering on the website as well.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, we just got finished discussing Peyton Manning props. Now we're going to take a look at some Russell Wilson props. And as always, line shopping is so important in sports betting, and SBR actually put together a very, very valuable prop odds comparison chart, which you can find at Sportsbook Review. You can compare the odds at many different sports books for all these Super Bowl props. All right, Russell Wilson, a lot of these, these props, the value here has to do with not just how well you think the guy's going to play. It has to do with, the pace, the expected game plan. What out of all the Russell Wilson props caught your eyes maybe having some value here?
Yeah, I think over 5.5 yards on Russell Wilson's first carry of the game is going to be big, Pete. I think Coach Pavel, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, is going to let Russell Wilson run loose in this game. They've been kind of babying him now for the last few weeks against some of these hard, heavy hitting defenses like the 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. I think you're going to see a lot more zone read by the Seattle Seahawks. In the last few games, it's been a lot of Lynch. You haven't seen Wilson carried as much. I think either on a QB scramble or a designed run, Wilson goes over 5.5 on his first carry of the football game. I think he's going to catch Denver sleeping.
Plus 100 at over 5.5 for Russell Wilson's first rushing attempt. Let's take a look at some of the passing props here for Russell Wilson. These are going to be a little bit tricky because we don't know exactly what kind of game plan Seattle's going to employ here. The fewer attempts that he makes, obviously that makes an interception less likely, a touchdown less likely, passing yards the under more likely. Right now for an interception, it's close to even. The yes is minus 116, the no is minus 101, and Wilson hasn't thrown an interception in the playoffs so far, and Denver hasn't gotten an interception in the playoffs so far. Both of them were 8-8 during the regular season. Wilson threw an interception in half his games. Denver got an interception in half of their games, but it was mostly the crappier quarterbacks that got picked off, and the better quarterbacks didn't. So I'm thinking that maybe the no for Russell Wilson at minus 101 might have a little bit of value. What do you think?
Yeah, I had no circle as well, Pete. I just think Russell Wilson is such a smart quarterback. And I think going into this game, the one thing he realizes he can't do is turn the ball over. It's one of those games that if punting might be okay in this one, Pete. Their defense is that good. So I would be surprised to see Wilson chucking the ball over the field. I really think they're going to depend heavily on his legs. I think they're going to depend heavily on Marshawn Lynch's legs and other guys like Percy Harvin and even Turbin. So I'm going to go with a no on that, Pete. I think Russell Wilson's too smart of a quarterback. I think if they see in any sort of trouble, he's going to scramble out of the pocket and get rid of the football. I don't see him making ill-advised throws in this game. So I think no is somewhat of a safe bet in this one, Pete.
All right, I agree with that. And, if you don't see him chucking the ball all over the field, then I know you're expecting, a good game for Seattle in general. But if you think that they're going to run with him a lot more and use Marshawn Lynch a lot, then maybe you're liking the under 212.5 passing yards for Wilson?
Yeah, I think under is a pretty safe bet. I think this team's really going to run the ball a lot. I think you're going to see Lynch into the mid-20s, may even sniff 30 carries. I think Wilson's going to have up to 10 carries, and that's another prop that I actually had circled here we can talk about here in a minute, Pete. But I just think this team's going to run the ball a lot. You look at Wilson, hardly sniffed into the mid-100s against the 49ers, struggled against the Saints. He's struggled passing. It may be a good opportunity against a weaker secondary with Denver, so 212 scares me a little bit, but I think a safer bet may be under the 212 because I think Seattle's really going to want to establish this running game against the Denver Broncos.
Okay, and you mentioned you think that Wilson's going to be running a lot. Currently, the prop for his rushing yards is 32.5. You think the over might be worth a shot there?
I think so, absolutely, Pete. You got to remember, the Denver Broncos, the last few quarterbacks they've seen, guys like Phillip Rivers, guys like Tom Brady, they're not scramblers. Even throughout the course of the year, guys like Alex Smith that they saw, they're not scramblers. I think Russell Wilson has a capability to sneak out of the pocket and make a big play with his legs. He's got to do it at least once or twice, which I think is really going to put him over 32.5 yards. A couple zone read carries, which I know he'll have in this game. If he goes for 10, 20 yards on one of those, 32.5 is a pretty low figure if he avoids some sacks. So over 32.5, I think has some value here, Pete, for Russell Wilson to go over, because I think they're going to really let this guy loose and say, hey, beat Denver with your legs.
All right, I really like your analysis on this, Troy. I think we've identified a bunch of props here that might have some value. Now let's move on to Seattle Seahawks team props.